The Southern Illinois University Women's Leadership Council is a network of Saluki graduates, parents, and friends who are committed to creating a culture of women-driven philanthropy. They're also mentoring future generations. Welcome to Eye on Education. I'm Fred Martino, and I am pleased to have with us the Council's Dr. Dawn Korte. As an executive human resources advisor, Dr. Korte worked with senior leadership teams to transform organizations through people, processes, and technology. We're going to talk about her work, the council, and Saluki Women's Weekend, which is coming up September 19th through the 21st. Dr. Korte, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me today. What an honor. And you make me sound so important. So thank you.
Well, it is great to speak with you today. And I do want to learn a little bit more about the council and also how you got involved.
Well, it's a great question. Matt Kupek is the CEO of the foundation, and I'm a loyal SIU Saluki. It's in my blood. And we happened to be on a plane ride together. And he said, I've got this great idea. And I'm like, well, what is it? And he started a similar program at UNC. And so that was 3 years ago. And so I like to say that we're a toddler now. We have 19 fearless women that sit with me on the board, and we are doing some really exciting things. It takes a village, and it doesn't come easy. So when we came together, we created a mission statement, and it is literally to improve the careers of SIU students, encourage diversity and inclusion, and certainly empower change. And so that's what we're about. And we've done a lot so far. We've got 3 divisions in the program, one around networking and, fostering membership. The other division is around mentorship, where alumni Salukis mentor current female Salukis. And then certainly we have the philanthropy arm, where we like to raise a lot of money to support micro grants and really get SIU to be known to being a woman initiative university, right? So you're safe here to practice, you're safe here to grow, and you're certainly, as a woman, we want to honor you for your accomplishments and empower you to do that. So that's a little bit about what we do.
I think this idea is so great. I was just talking with someone the other day about this and about our mission here at WSIU to mentor students. That I know that that's such an important thing, in addition to raising funds to help them go to college and be successful in college. Often students miss that mentorship, and it's so crucial. I know for me, I really make an effort in that personally, because I felt that I didn't have enough of that while I was an undergraduate. I had mentors later in life when I was employed, and I would have benefited more from having them earlier. You do so much in that area as well, and so it's great. The council has a big event that's coming up, Saluki Women's Weekend, and I know anyone can be involved in this, but you do have to register. It's registration is online, and it's available till September 16th. This event, I understand, is beginning with an SIU alum, Erin Jackson, who's an American Airlines pilot. Tell me about it.
Yeah, we're super excited. Well, first I want to double back, though, and tell you about your mentorship experience, because you're absolutely correct. 3 out of 4 women in the professional sector of any organization are going to tell you that they have a mentor, and that adds to their success. Yet only 20% of college students even have a mentor, and much less than that even think about getting one or asking.
Only so that's 20%.
Yeah.
So yeah. I wasn't unusual. I wondered about that, and of course, data helps, right? That's
data does help. That's exactly right, Fred. And I feel like that's a huge part of what we do, because in my book, you can't give back any other way than giving your time like that, right? I mean, it is just a one-on-one, and you can really dedicate some great pearls of wisdom to them. So aside, let's talk about the weekend. It is our 3rd Saluki Women's Weekend. We're very excited, and yes, we love to highlight women that are doing some exciting things in non-traditional women-dominated industries like aerospace, aviation. So we're going to start out there Thursday night, and it is going to be cool. We are going to even let her talk about her journey and speak to us and inspire us. So that's Thursday night. Then Friday, all day, we'll be there. We have all kinds of cool things coming up. Friday, we actually have the day kicked off with Cheryl Tucker. She's going to be our keynote about vision and women in leading at SIU. And then we're going to have a deep dive on artificial intelligence. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to have panels on wellness and how to plan your career. Then we're going to have a networking afternoon. We have vendors that are all female and women initiative vendors. So that's exciting for the fair. And then we have an Ask the Expert and then a cocktail hour. So that's Friday. And then, of course, Saturday, we have a lot of interesting things going on. We mentor with the group and the students they have there. We actually started a student RSO, Women's Leadership Council. And so we're going to meet with them. And then we have all these fun activities. And it leads up, of course, to tailgating, where the dogs are going to certainly kill SEMO. So we're excited about that. Not that women would be violent or anything.
Gotcha.
But we're excited. It's going to be a great weekend. And yes, everybody does need to register, but every woman has a story and every woman has a part in this. And so I encourage everyone to step out for it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Outstanding. I know another presentation at the event deals with artificial intelligence. Tell us about that.
It is. It's scary, right? Everybody hears about it, but they don't really know. I know I didn't. And I spent 10 years, almost 10 years of my career in tech. So I, for one, was scared of it too. And I think just like everything, it's got a positive and a negative, right? So it seems like we're hearing more about the negative, but that's why we wanted to bring it into this forum, because it's a powerful tool. And I personally think it's great to be at the crossroads of utilizing this technology for pedagogical innovation. Right? That's what we're really talking about. How do we use it in the classroom? How do we use it as women that are busy today? How do we get it all done? Right? Well, we get it done with technology. We all have a phone. But how do we use that technology to the best of our advantage is what we're going to talk about with AI. I think it's interesting because when I think about the impact, it's a revolutionary time. It's a teaching tool. It can really jumpstart a lot of things. Memos, engagement with materials that you may be working on a presentation. So we're going to highlight that for women and really kind of give them an idea about what it is and how to harness it to their advantage. So it's going to be exciting. I think a little different too.
Yeah, very interesting, and something that a lot of people are, looking for more information on. And we should say, a lot of Salukis and Saluki alums will attend, but you don't have to be a Saluki or a Saluki alum to attend this this weekend. We're hearing a lot about AI in the workplace, remote and hybrid work, and so many other issues. You recently retired, but I want to give you a chance to tell us about your work in human resources and how it changed after COVID.
Yeah, thank you. So retirement is busy. I mean, if anybody tells you retirement is not, they're lying to you. It's busy. But I'm really happy to be able to be a part of things that I love, which is SIU, right? One of the things that I do. Yes, my work was focused in HR around strategic consultation with customers, and certainly, on a lot of digital workforce transformations that they would do. Obviously, you need technology to enable that. But then my last couple of years, I spent coaching board area and board member executives around advisement and how they want to translate their people strategy into an operational capacity. So that's what I've done in my career. And it's been a great ride. And I can tell you that HR has changed a lot since post-COVID, right? I mean, we had to scramble to figure out how we were going to live in a world where all of a sudden nobody could be face-to-face anymore. And so probably one of the biggest things that we relied on technology to do is enable us to continue running businesses, but not in the traditional way that we were used to. So all of a sudden we have everybody at home. And how do we still make it work, right? How do hospitals still run when we know nurses have to touch patients? Right? How do we run an organization when we know we want to get to our customers? So I use the technology, and that's why one of the reasons we want to talk about AI is you can really use it to maintain engagement with your employees, because of course that's our number one focus usually in HR, but also the customers. They can be back to your company and you want them attached. So for us, the biggest thing has been remote work. And I think that's kind of a hangover, if you will, from COVID. And I just read a survey from SHRM. SHRM is the Society for HR Management. It's kind of one of our benchmark places that we go to as a professional, one of our professional organizations. And they did a study around what was important to employees today. And it's still around the ability to have flexibility in their work, because we all know work-life balance is kind of a joke. I mean, right? Like, you have to love your work, because then there becomes no balance, because it's not like you can shut it off at 5 o'clock, because our minds are still running, right? So that's kind of how we in HR really have embraced the change of post-COVID, is adjusting to things that we know our employees really want, because it's very difficult to recruit today. I mean, it's really hard to find great people. And so what you want to do is create a package that really resonates with them. And part of that is remote work. And that came from COVID. So that's why we're talking about AI, because a lot of that's AI generated. Your chatbots are AI. A lot of people don't know that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a way to have assistance for customers 24/7, which allows for that work-life balance that you were talking about, which is so important, and also reduce unnecessary capacity that some businesses have. So very, very important to have that kind of thing in certain industries. Wellness, as you know, is not a new trend at all in the workplace, but there is certainly more focus on wellness by employees. And I see that the Saluki Women's Weekend also has a presentation on, quote, how to be a well woman in today's society.
So just like when we're talking about post-COVID and how HR had to adapt and what employees want, right? That all remote work now, because most companies are 2 days in the office, maybe 3 days at home, or something of a hybrid model. What it comes down to is the role, the individual, and the culture. And that also is what it comes down to when you look at wellness. But every woman I know struggles with that balance. They struggle with, how do I feel good some days? And so it's not a new trend, but I will tell you, we're going to focus on it, because I don't think you can focus enough. And it pumps me up when we do talk about it, because frankly, I mean, when I looked at this survey, the SHRM survey, the number one thing that employees want is health benefits, but they're not just talking about health insurance. They're talking about gym memberships. They're talking about mental health access, to coaches, to advisors, all kinds of things that come with wellness. And so we're going to talk about all the opportunities, what companies can do to really motivate and structure their employees around a benefit solution that works for them. Because when I read a survey that says 88% of employers, are finding it extremely important to maintain employee satisfaction through wellness benefits, then we need to be talking about it. And we need to get our employees armed to know what to ask for. But the biggest thing, of course, is your mental wellness right now. And I know through post-COVID, this has been a very difficult transformation for a lot of people. You go from being we're social creatures. So you go from being socialized every day to nothing, right? And so that's another piece of how we've had to change the wellness model. And again, in this survey, I even discovered that they're having conversations around menopause and menopausal benefits, even though that class and age of women only represent about 9% of the total workforce. So that tells me that organizations are getting out there and they're really thinking about their employees and what it's going to take to retain them. But aside from all of that, we as individuals have to maintain our own wellness. So that's why we want to talk about it. And we've got some great experts. We've got 3 doctors on the panel, all alumni. That's great. And some other supportive experts as well. So it's going to be a good talk.
I'm sure a lot of people looking forward to that. Another presentation deals with career planning. Tell us about that, and let's provide our viewers with your advice from your years working in human resources.
Can you plan a career? I mean, I have a
You
lot
can
of people
try.
ask. Exactly, right? I have a lot of people say to me, how'd you get where you are? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, the books will tell you, put a plan together, follow the plan. My personal tips are much less glamorous. And I think it's important that you have to, again, now we're back down to the person and the role and the culture. And, when I talk about my career, I have a lot of mentors to thank, which is one of the reasons why I believe in giving back so fiercely, because that's what it takes. It takes somebody that's been there. And until you need that experience, you're not going to pay attention to it, right? So you can create the plan and you can work the plan. But I think what it takes is a mentor to be successful in your career. And that's why we do the program. It's why I talk about mentorship being one of my tips. So again, not so glamorous, but if you don't have a board of directors, I suggest you get one, a personal one, or a professional one. Get a mentor. I also talk a lot about finding your passion. And I definitely know what mine is, and it feels like I'm having fun at work. It doesn't feel like work anymore. And so that's what I always say. And then another key is be a go-to person. Be that person that you can be counted on, right? You may not know the answer, but be the one that says, I'll find somebody that does, or I'll help you get it. So those are a couple pearls of wisdom for me, but that's what we're going to talk about on this panel is all women that have had these experiences. And again, some of this stuff, a longstanding joke in HR is that you can't make this up, okay? You can't. And I think that's what's beautiful is that we have a panel of women that are really ready to share their mistakes, because that's where the real growth happens, right? When you mess it up and you go, okay, here's what I've learned, and now here's how I'm going to apply it going forward. That's actually a moment of pure perfection. So we're going to talk about that on the panel.
Well, you, I understand, will also be part of an Ask the Experts panel discussion at the Saluki Women's Weekend. What can we expect there?
I don't know. I'm kind of scared.
So you can ask anything is what you're saying then.
That's exactly right.
Oh boy, that could be a little scary, right?
I know, right? You never know who's in the audience.
Yeah.
No, we do. We've assembled a panel too, because once again, I think when you're in an organization, sometimes you can't ask the vulnerable questions. You can't ask the tough questions, those questions that make you look vulnerable. It gets dangerous, right? And again, women don't want to put themselves in any kind of position like that in today's world. So we've created this panel that is literally, you can ask anything. And we've got a heavy hitter set on there. I don't know how I got on there, but I am. And again, I expect everything from HR to personal finance, because when I talk about wellness, I talk about financial wellness too. I don't just talk about emotional and physical and spiritual, but financial, these building blocks that you need to be successful. So I don't know what we're going to get on the Ask the Expert, but we're pretty excited about it, because for us, again, it's a way to share the mistakes, not so much our successes.
Dawn, tell me about your work in philanthropy and getting more women involved in philanthropy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here's my plea to all the women out there that hear me. You all have a story. You all have something to give back, and it is powerful. And I ask that you consider the WLC. I mean, if it's $1, it will work, because what we do with this money is we take it and we put it towards scholarships for our students. And it isn't the scholarships that you and I probably were familiar with in our day and age, right? It was the ones that actually paid for tuition. I'm talking about the ones that fill those gaps, that in the semester you may not be able to afford your books. You may not be able to have enough left over to have a solid, sustainability plan to eat. So these are things that we're doing with the dollars that we raise. And this weekend happens to be one of our biggest fundraisers. Obvious, the Day of Giving is another that we really ask other women to dig deep and think about how you want your legacy to be. That's another tip of mine in HR. I always talk about, what do you want people to remember about you when you're gone? Gone from the organization, gone from a room, gone from this earth. This is a way to make sure that you still give back to a place that mattered in your heart when you came here, and it matters to the people that are here now. So this is a big opportunity for us to raise dollars. And it isn't just the students. We also support faculty microgrants. We have a tight process. They all can apply, and we've awarded several. So that's another big piece of Friday is when we award Saluki Women's. We have several award categories, and then we also award microgrants and scholarships. So it's a fun day. And again, we can't do it without everybody thinking about how they can help. And again, it doesn't have to be money. The other thing I always talk about is time and treasure too. It takes that as well. And the 19 women that sit on this board with me, they selflessly give their time. And I'm thankful for that. So it doesn't just have to be the fact that you can write a check, because I can tell you that's pretty easy. It's time and talent where it gets tough, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, certainly there is a great need for funding in higher education. States across the country have reduced public investment, and many students are choosing to attend classes online. So I understand that the need for funding is great. If you can just briefly give us the big picture there.
It absolutely is. And again, students utilize a lot of ways to supplement the tuition, meet that gap, whatever they need to do. But our dollars that we raise through this weekend all go back to SIU. Nobody on this board is paid. Nobody on this board does anything other than receive applications and encourage women to write them, both faculty, staff, and students. And so every dollar that is raised goes back, and it goes back in a way that they know it will be sustaining. Again, we're not just supporting fun things that some women may think, oh, well, you sponsored someone in an event. Yes, but we've also sponsored grants and things like that too. So the dollars are needed. And again, it's scary, the basics that we help students with sometimes, but it matters. And they will be able to stay at SIU if we are empowering them to be there. It's just like a lift. Yeah. And that makes me so happy.
Yeah. You spent also 25 years in the college classroom. Tell me about that and how it has changed over the years.
Well, now we're back to AI, right? Like when I taught, there was no Chat GPT.
Yeah, right.
Right. And for those of you that are watching going, what's Chat GPT? It's a Microsoft product. It is an artificial intelligence tool, and it certainly helps students begin to write papers and gives them structure. And frankly, the software is intelligent enough to create a paper. So I'm thankful that I'm not grading those anymore, and I have to, detect that. But it was a lot of fun. And I spent the majority of my 25 years at St. Louis University in the College of in the College of Health and Social Justice, teaching in their MHA program. So for individuals that want to go run a health system, it was great, a lot of fun. And again, another way that I feel I can give back. I mean, if you ask me what my passion is and what my purpose is, it's teaching. And I love it. And this program gives me that opportunity too, to create these relationships for women to mentor current Saluki. So it's kind of like teaching too. But I still have lots of good college. They were in college, and now, of course, they're into their professional lives, and we're all very good friends. And that makes me happy too, because then I know what I did worked, and I enjoyed it.
It is so rewarding. I know what you're talking about from teaching for many years, to hear from former students and hear about their success. And we learn from them. Our mentees learn from us, but we learn from them.
Isn't that the truth? And what greater way than you standing in front of a classroom of 25, 30 kids? I call them kids. College students that you are mentoring, right? That's a powerful place. Yes, and it's a trust place. It's a vulnerability place, because you get into their heads as the instructor, right? More than they understand you sometimes as faculty. And I think that's a great place, because then you can really see what the knowledge transfer that you're delivering in the classroom, where it's working. You can see that. And it's great.
Great way for us to end with 90 seconds to go. One of the lessons I share with my students is that no matter how much change we experience, There is always a constant. How we adapt to the change is key to our success. It's only a minute left. Tell me about adaptability, how important this is in life and work.
Critical, mission critical, actually. Mission critical. I always joke the only person that wants to be changed is a baby in a dirty diaper, right? The rest of us are like, meh. We'll take it to a point. We're adults, right? We're human. We'll change to a point. And that's why it's absolutely critical that we learn and adapt and grow in this life. And when I think about adaptability, the key to that is having a growth mindset, being open to hearing feedback and then applying it to grow. That's adaptability.
Absolutely. Dawn, thank you so much for being with us.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you for having me today.
Great to have you here. My guest was Dr. Dawn Korte of the Southern Illinois University Women's Leadership Council. The council has a big event coming up, Saluki Women's Weekend. Once again, registration is available online until September 16th. That's Eye on Education. I'm Fred Martino. For everyone at WSIU, thank you for joining us. Have a great week.